last week on Potentially Great. So this all started because I met somebody today. I loved her, but I also hated her. And this was a person that I was told was pretty much me. And you would think that if there was somebody else who was also that extroverted, that we would just bounce off of each other. But for some reason, I just get closed off. And we're going to dive deeper into that as well. And what better place to do that than on a public platform? And now, this week. So now that we've gone past our first lesson, maybe it's not you, it's me. I want to transition into the fact that I get more introverted when extroverts are around. Because this is something that I have struggled with all throughout college, all throughout pretty much my entire life, I think, if I'm being real. Especially having gone from being more of a anxious child to more of a laid back adult. Laid back, I mean, come on, like, I wouldn't say laid back, but like less anxious, we'll say, more confident, more secure, more safe within myself. Let's go with that. But I really am curious to figure out why I get more introverted. Like, why would that even happen? I know with some people it's because I want to give them space to talk. And you know, sometimes extroverts don't really get the memo that other people are supposed to talk, so you just kind of naturally sit there and nod your head and listen. I also love listening to people. Like, I'm not knocking listening. It's not that I want to talk more. It's that I want to still show my silly, goofy personality and my little witty quips and stuff like that, you know? So I know sometimes it is holding space for the person and just letting them go because they have fun doing that. I think that part of it is also because towards the end of my high school career, I started feeling really performative in my friendships. And like I had to be on all the time because I was friends with more, I guess, introverts. I would more so say I was friends with people who didn't necessarily know who they were at the time. And as somebody who's constantly searching for who she is, I think it got really confusing, and I felt like I had to constantly be the entertainer in the group. Because if I wasn't entertaining, I honestly think that I felt like we would just be sitting there staring at each other. And granted, this was also a time where I was doing theater constantly. So I think that also kind of had something to do with it. And I also had been in relationships where I really did have to entertain or put on a persona for the person. So I think that kind of bled into my other relationships. Didn't know that until now. Didn't really think about that. Well, that's another thing to think about. Awesome. So I think that part of me becoming more introverted is because for so long I had to be the extrovert that when another extrovert is near, I'm like, oh, good, passing the crown over to you, you know? But like, we can share the crown. We can stand side by side and balance it in between our heads. So my question for myself is, why do I feel like I have to be one or the other? Why do I feel like I'm either the entertainer or I'm the nodder? Like, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to just be the person nodding along and being like, yeah, totally. Oh my God. What? No, that's so crazy. I want to be the person who is getting those responses, but is also saying that. I apologize if you can hear my dog snoring. There's no way I'm waking her up. It took her so long to get to sleep. I think that the biggest part of it is that I felt like I was performing for so long. And I think that sometimes I still feel like I'm performing, although it's becoming a more authentic performance, which is good because that's obviously more fun for everybody involved because it's me. But with that being said, I think that the next steps would be to figure out what I want to do about it. So in the future, my plan to be the person that I want to be the extrovert, and to kind of continue on this path that I'm forging for myself to really love the person that I am. Because I really do admire all of these traits, all of the traits that I said about the girl earlier, all of these traits that I have myself, that I know that I have myself, that I just won't let loose. And again, like I said, I've gotten better at this lately. But my main focus points are going to be focus on the greeting and the goodbye. I think that those are very important. I'm very, very terrible at goodbyes. I need to leave a lasting impression, and I know that, and I think that I get too in my head about that. So I fumble almost every single time. Love an Irish goodbye. I need to stop doing that. I Irish goodbye all the time. No more of that. We're saying goodbye to everybody. It's going to be uncomfortable. I hate it because, like, what do you do? We're going to figure it out. For the greeting, I'm going to greet everybody with a big smile. I always do, trust me. But I'm going to greet them with either a handshake or a hug, if appropriate, obviously. I can read a room. And I'm going to make sure that I make a big deal about them in some way. Maybe a compliment, maybe ask them how their day is, maybe ask them if they have anything looking forward to, all of that jazz. I already do that, but I don't think I do it in a way where it is outgoing enough to be what I want it to be. Along with that, I'm going to allow myself to be fully present in the moment, which I'm very good at, but I think when I'm too present in the moment, my mind kind of goes blank, and it's like a static line, so I have nothing to say to anybody. I'm really good at listening to understand. I have unlearned listening to respond, which we'll get into that in a different episode because I think that is important and a skill that everybody should have. But I think that my listening to understand skills have gone too far, and I need to start listening to respond just a little bit again. I think it's a balance. And I think that with listening to respond, I'm going to make sure that I grab a piece of information that the other person says rather than an anecdote of mine. So I'm going to bring it back to something that they said and make sure that they still feel like the spotlight, but like I'm also shining that spotlight onto them. And also, I think the last thing, because I struggle with this a lot, I'm just going to start saying things unprompted. Like if I say like, oh, how was your day? And you just go, good. I mean, of course I would ask like, why was it good and stuff like that. But if you don't ask me how my day was, I'm just going to tell you. Because that was something else that the girl did earlier. Like she asked me about my relationship. And I felt really bad because I was also really hangry and tired and overheated. So like I was not giving her anything to work with. Props to this girl. I also did apologize to her. I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I promise I'm fun. I just can't. Like I can't muster up the energy right now. And she's like, you're all good. So I am very candid about that. But I really liked, she asked me about my relationship. And I like responded. And I didn't even think, because I was also preoccupied like with something else. We were working on a project. And I didn't even think to ask her about hers. Or if she had one. And then she was like, oh yeah, my boyfriend. And I was like, oh, you're so right. I'm so sorry I didn't ask. So I think I'm just going to start saying things unprompted. Which also goes with like my silly little jokes and stuff like that. I'm going to do it around everybody. Literally around everybody. If you don't like my jokes, get a life. Get a sense of humor. Like, okay. Again, I can read a room. I want to clarify that. Obviously, right time and place for everything. However, I'm going to stop being so dang shy around people that I'm going to be spending my life with. Why would I do that? I'm going to be around these people for so long. They deserve to know the real me. I'm a freaking delight. Moral of the story, don't compare. Ask yourself why. That's one moral. Don't compare, ask yourself why. What about that person is making you compare yourself to them? Is it making you hate yourself? Why? Why is it making you hate yourself? Is it making you hate them? Why? Dig deeper into it. Because trust me, it made me hate myself. And then I went, I don't want to hate myself. Let's work through this. And you know what? I don't really hate myself anymore because I have things that I can work on. There's always something to work on. There's always a way to get through it. I'll keep you posted on this and I'll let you know how I'm doing with it in a few episodes. Have a good night. Bye. Thank you so much for literally being a personal journal for me. I really appreciate it. Little diary. Dear diary. Okay, bye.